You want a brief on everyone on the Chinese side of the summit?
No, what Durant's doing in Washington is just the facade.
Facade. Facade.
Oh, what Durant's doing in Washington is just the facade. This is an opportunist, but so am I. Maybe this is my opportunity to loosen his grip on the president.
Loosen. Loosen.
Maybe this is my opportunity to loosen his grip on the president.
Any comments on the talks with the Chinese?
Can you get a comment on the upcoming summit talks?
Vice President will be working from his room for the remainder of the day.
Remainder. Remainder.
From his room for the remainder of the day.
There's one more item I'd like to discuss.
Consider, I thought the bridge was definite.
Nothing is definite.
This
Definite. Definite.
Nothing is definite.
But you've been fighting us on currency manipulation for years.
Manipulation. Manipulation.
Manipulation for years. In Gaffney, we had our own brand of diplomacy.
Diplomacy. Diplomacy.
In Gaffney, we had our own brand of diplomacy.
I told him tomorrow or Wednesday.
Work's not done.
If I postpone again, don't you think it'll draw attention?
It'll be
Postpone. Postpone.
If I postpone again, don't you think it'll draw attention?
Why are you telling me this at all?
They're going public with it tomorrow anyway. You might as well get the scoop.
Why?
Scoop. Scoop.
You might as well get the scoop.
Why?
Which puts distance on me, which puts distance on you.
I want you to meet with Fang tonight, no proxies.
Understood.
Proxy. Proxy.
No proxies.
Understood.
If you think I could help.
I have the head of the Women's Caucus, both.
Caucus. Caucus.
I have the head of the Women's Caucus, both.
And we want to make sure they have no cause to smear us.
People tried to smear my husband his entire career.
Smear. Smear.
People tried to smear my husband his entire career. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Ashamed. Ashamed.
You should be ashamed of yourself.
Did your husband keep records of any kind of who he assisted? Anything at all? Notes, unofficial records?
Unofficial. Unofficial.
Anything at all? Notes, unofficial records?
Well, just imagine what it looked like back then. Up to the edge of the ridge was a dense thicket which allowed the northern troops to come in and form on the mule shoe.
Mule. Mule.
Which allowed the northern troops to come in and form on the mule shoe.
It happened here, at the Bloody Angle.
The edge of those woods. My skull was bashed in with a rock.
Bash. Bash.
My skull was bashed in with a rock. You could hear them, the Yanks, running toward us. Then you could smell them. First Yank brushed up against me, I grabbed.
Yank. Yank.
First Yank brushed up against me, I grabbed.
Confederate ramparts that we've reconstructed. You can see how they cut the timber and made the trenches. Those trenches traded hands many times.
Trench. Trench.
Those trenches traded hands many times.
About these shoes at J.C. Penney. $72 with tax. Rubber soles. And clean them off with a hose. Please.
Hose. Hose.
Rubber soles. And clean them off with a hose. Please. When I say fetch, you fetch. And now we are going to fetch Lucas, just like we discussed.
Fetch. Fetch.
Now we are going to fetch Lucas, just like we discussed.
The government was enthusiastic about us dropping the suit. They've touted it as a victory back home.
Tout. Tout.
They've touted it as a victory back home.
If he represents the American government, then why did he fail to communicate my request?
We question your legitimacy, Mr. Fang. Nothing.
Legitimacy. Legitimacy.
Question your legitimacy, Mr. Fang. Nothing.
And why did he fail to communicate my request?
We question your legitimacy, Mr. Fang. Nothing your delegation has done or said has in...
Delegation. Delegation.
Nothing your delegation has done or said has in...
1926, $40,000 a bottle. You used to be an alcoholic, correct?
Alcoholic. Alcoholic.
You used to be an alcoholic, correct? You used to be an alcoholic, correct?
Not used to be. Still am. A sober one.
Sober. Sober.
Not used to be. Still am. A sober one.
Did you know that General Longstreet was shot here accidentally by his own men in the dark?
No.
Accidentally. Accidentally.
Accidentally by his own men in the dark?
No.
We must learn from Longstreet. He rode too high in the saddle.
Saddle. Saddle.
We must learn from Longstreet. He rode too high in the saddle.
Mrs. Underwood, if I may.
Please.
This is an issue we've grappled with seriously.
Grapple. Grapple.
This is an issue we've grappled with seriously. This is an issue we've grappled with seriously. Increased education and prevention measures, restructuring the reporting process,
Restructure. Restructure.
restructuring the reporting process, putting sexual assault cases entirely in the hands of civilian courts, fundamentally erodes the military's ability to self-discipline.
What?
Erode. Erode.
Fundamentally erodes the military's ability to self-discipline.
What about civilian oversight instead of civilian courts?
That's a slippery slope.
Slippery. Slippery.
There you go.
We're talking about a man who's only one kangaroo court away from lethal injection. Who's
Lethal. Lethal.
away from lethal injection. We're talking about a man who's only one kangaroo court away from lethal injection. Who's filthy rich and clearly corrupt, and this
Filthy. Filthy.
filthy rich and clearly corrupt, and this
The first drops of blood have been spilt. Bullet grazed my cheek, but I haven't fallen. Doug.
Graze. Graze.
Bullet grazed my cheek, but I haven't fallen. Doug. That puts us into uncharted territory.
Well, Connor will expose us too if we let him go.
Not if it goes smoothly.
Smoothly. Smoothly.
Not if it goes smoothly. We wouldn't be having this conversation if Connor had done his job, and I'd rather manage someone I don't trust than someone who's reckless.
fine,
Reckless. Reckless.
Someone who's reckless.
fine.
Your money doesn't intimidate me. The most that you can buy is influence, but I wield constitutional authority.
Wield. Wield.
But I wield constitutional authority.
Don't forget, your ancestor fought for the losing side. There is no sacred ground for the conquered.
Conquer. Conquer.
There is no sacred ground for the conquered.
Well, they walked away from the Joint Commission. We can walk away from the summit.
The economic fallout would be catastrophic. The market would...
Fallout. Fallout.
The economic fallout would be catastrophic. The market would...
Don't be hyperbolic, Frank. Well, we are dealing with 1/4 of the world's population.
Mr. President, you would be making a disastrous mistake.
Well,
Disastrous. Disastrous.
Mr. President, you would be making a disastrous mistake.
well,
Mr. President, you would be making a disastrous mistake.
where are your allegiances, Raymond?
Allegiance. Allegiance.
Where are your allegiances, Raymond?